What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Vor Army, and in today's video, as I promised y'all, we're gonna be going over who exactly was the coldest Robin Batman ever had out of Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Damian Wayne. So without further ado, y'all, my G's, let's get right on with the video. So the first Robin we're gonna talk about is Dick Grayson, and man, like I told y'all in the Batman Nightwing versus Amazo commentary video, I think a month ago, Dick Grayson is in my top 5 favorite characters of all time from DC. Like, he is just like, he's the perfect example of what a prime DC character should be. Like, he's a harem protagonist. He's had amazing story arcs over the years. He's a team leader. He's led the Titans. He's led the Outsiders. Even during the Obsidian Age in the early 2000s, he led a version of the Justice League team when the main Justice League team at the time were gone. So Dick Grayson, man, he in many ways is the reason why Batman still exists right now. Because when you go back and look at the 40s, right? The 40s was a whole different time for superheroes. Like, superheroes were being created, but like the most popular superheroes at that time were Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Jay Garrick, Captain Marvel, and Captain America. But Batman was kind of in like a downward spiral in terms of popularity, because Batman was not like how he was in the 60s and 70s through Adam West, right? Like back then, during like his first like few years as a character, he was very like brutal with his villains, right? He was kind of dark. And, you know, readers at that time were not trying to see story arcs like that, because, you know, they just came out of World War II and they were trying to see hopeful stuff, right? That's why a whole lot of comic books were even starting to die down at that time. But, like, Dick Grayson was created in a way to defeat that whole dark, gritty aspect of Batman at the time, and it led to so many great things with Batman, because the creation of Robin Dick Grayson, it not only made Batman a household name again, it made Robin a household name, and it created a whole nother genre and comic book stories, which was the idea of a teenage hero sidekick, which would later lead into a teenage hero becoming his own main hero. The first major example of that being Spider-Man in 1962. So Dick Grayson, he is him. He is that guy, bro. Like, you know, like Dick Grayson has done so much, man. Like let's say in the 80s, right? In the 80s, he stopped being Robin because he felt like he outgrew the Robin mantle, right? And then, you know, there's other variations of this story where, you know, Batman wanted Dick to stop being Robin because he got injured one time, or he stopped being Robin because he had many issues with Bruce Wayne, right? But the most popular one is the fact that Dick just felt like he outgrew the Robin mantle and wanted to be his own man. And so he did become his own man during Judas Contract in the 1980s, in which he became Nightwing. That huge storyline is so like huge for many reasons. Jericho came in, the whole stuff with Tara, Wally West leaving the team, it was great. But one of the best things about that story was Dick becoming his own man, because Dick didn't really originally pop off as Nightwing. It wasn't until the 90s when he donned that blue and black color scheme that he's known for with the finger strips. Oh man, that's probably one of the best designs for a comic book character ever, bro. And so Dick's success continued to go into the 2000s. Like I told y'all, during the early 2000s, he led a version of the Justice League team. And besides that, man, he was popping off in other stuff too. He was a co-leader of the Outsiders alongside Roy Harper. He, of course, has major history with the Titans. And it finally got to a point where in the mid-2000s, when Jason Todd came back and they were doing this whole thing with Battle of the Cowl, because there was no longer Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne, he was believed to be dead after Final Crisis when he got hit by, you know, Darkseid's Omega beams. Dick Grayson showed that he is the 99 overall Robin that we all know he is, because he clapped Jason Todd and he proved to Jason that he is the heir of the Batman mantle, and he became Batman. And bruh, Dick's time as Batman was so cold, y'all. Like, he was the wisecracking Robin, but he could also be very gritty when it came to the right situation. Like, it got to a point where some of his folks, some of his friends, like his girlfriend, you know, Starfire, right? There was this one issue I remember where, like, Dick was acting so much like Bruce Wayne as Batman, like it was scaring Starfire. Starfire was like, Dick, I need you to chill. I want to speak to Richard Grayson, not Bruce Wayne Batman. And Dick was like, all right, I'm sorry, my girl. Let me turn it off for you. I'm just like, it's crazy, man. Like, and then another thing, you know, Dick Grayson has aura. When DC spent almost a whole decade trying to destroy his character, had him get shot in his head, tried to make him into a whole new character called Richard Grayson, I believe it was. All this stuff, and they could not stop because Dick Grayson, his popularity, the love that he gets from the fans, it was just too much. They were just like, you know what? Let's bring Dick Grayson back to how fans know and love him for, because that whole like time period of DC where they were just trying to destroy this man, him and Wally West, it was just a crazy time period. Luckily, we're not in that time period anymore, man. It was just a wild time, but Dick Grayson's in this him era again. He has his own comic book. He's appearing in a number of stuff now. There's gonna be a day where he finally gets his own movie, and I can't wait when he gets his own movie, bro, because he's one of those characters that deserves their own movie. But besides Dick Grayson, let's talk about Jason Todd. So Jason Todd, he's been around since 1983. Unlike Dick Grayson, when he was Robin, fans hated him, bro. I explained to y'all briefly in the Red Hood video that fans hated this man so much they voted for his deletion, and they actually got their wish. He died, right? And I'm just like, yo, like, that is so crazy, man. I wonder how those fans felt. The fact that their power to, like, their ability to wish death on this guy actually happened. Like, I want to know how they feel about that, because they're part of a historic moment in DC that would, like, eventually lead to him becoming one of the most popular characters now, because back then, when he was Robin, he had no aura as Robin, bro. He had no aura. It wasn't until the 2000s, after Infinite Crisis, which led to Under the Red Hood, that he finally had aura, because now he's Red Hood, he's whooping ass, he's killing people, he's making Batman be like, who the hell is this guy? He's taking out so many villains, and Red Hood is like, bruh, I'm doing what you won't do. I'm killing these people because they're out here fodderizing our people of Gotham City. They gotta go out, man. And I'm just like, Jason is speaking facts, but he's doing it in an extreme way. And so Jason, while I don't think he was such a cold Robin, his time as Red Hood was great, bro. But easily on this list, he was definitely the worst Robin because of the fact that fans wanted him dead, and he actually stayed dead for so long into the 2000s. Now, Jason is doing great stuff now as Red Hood, man. He's one of those most popular characters now. Like, he's just one of those guys that, like, he has a loyal fan base, and I feel like if they ever decide on putting him in the live action movies, man, there'll be some good stuff too. But besides those two, let's talk about Tim Drake. So Tim Drake was created in 1989, and unlike the first two Robins, they kind of focused on Tim's wit, how smart he was, and just like his overall like design as Robin. Because man, out of all the Robins we've been talking about so far, Tim Drake had the most, like he had the best drip out of any of the Robins so far, man. Because, you know, Dick Grayson and Jason both had the outdated tunic, right? But this man Tim Drake came with the green tights and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, man, Tim Drake's design as Robin was so fire that in the DC animated universe, they stole his whole drip and gave it to Dick Grayson, because they knew damn well that outdated tunic in the DC animated universe would not have looked right at all. And then fast forward to where they animated Under the Red Hood. They stole Tim Drake's 1 year later drip and put it onto Jason for that movie. That is crazy. But anyways, Tim Drake, prime Tim Drake was like Tim Drake from 1989 to 2009. He was a different breed, bro. He was a founding member of Young Justice. He was a part of one of the most popular eras of the Teen Titans from the 2000s all the way into the 2010s. He led different versions of the Teen Titans. Ones that had his fellow founding members of the Young Justice team. Ones that had Rose Wilson, Static, and I think Kid Devil, Aquagirl, Blue Beetle, all these cool characters that deserve so much more treatment nowadays, like so much more exposure now. But Tim Drake was a different breed, bro. Like, I love Tim Drake so much. I feel like a whole lot of his stuff is really like used for other characters, like other Robins and animated features, like his bow staff, even his design. I feel like, damn, Tim Drake had like S-tier aura as Robin too, because not just the fact that, you know, he was Robin for so long, he was Robin for like almost 20 years, right? 1989 until 2009, until he finally became Red Robin. But he was doing some cool stuff, bro. He was teaming up with other superheroes like the Flash, Wally West, Power Ranger, Green Lantern, Superman. He was even working with the Justice League at times too. He led his countless versions of the Teen Titans, man. And even though he had so much like even though he went through so much losses too at that time period, because the 2000s was rough for Tim Drake too, man, because he lost his father in Identity Crisis. He lost his best friend Connor Kent in Infinite Crisis, and then he lost Bart Allen, because Bart Allen was beat to death by the Rogues in his Flash book. And that didn't stop Tim Drake from showing that he has to continue being that guy. And you know, he even fought during the Battle for the Cowl, where all the Robins were fighting to see who could be the next Batman. And of course, he lost to Jason Todd, but he still showed he was that guy. And now Tim Drake nowadays, bro, I don't know, like he doesn't have the same aura that he did in the post-crisis landscape of DC. Like, I don't know, it's just like ever since New 52 hit, Tim Drake's not been the same for me in my opinion. But Tim Drake as Robin in his prime days, I'll say that he was like possibly like the coldest Robin ever, just because of all the stuff that he did as Robin for 20 years. The amount of books he was in, the amount of teams he led in the 2000s, like, and then that man could bag people, bro. He could bag people too, man. So it's just like Tim Drake was him in his prime days too. Now after him, we'll talk about Stephanie Brown. Stephanie Brown, out of all these Robins that I spoke to you all right now, Stephanie Brown, she was only Robin for 3 months. 3 months. Can y'all believe that, bro? And it was because Batman just didn't vibe with her. So he fired her because he just felt like she wasn't a good partner at all. And it sucks, but she was great as Batgirl, bro. Her time as Batgirl in 2009, she had aura. She had that Hall of Fame aura as Batgirl in 2009. So much so that the people at DC at the time were like, she's got to stop being Batgirl, because people are connecting to her as Batgirl like they were doing with Cassandra Cain when she was Batgirl in the early 2000s. We got to stop that. And so that was around the time where the New 52 hit and Barbara was restored back as the Batgirl, which had a lot of controversy at the time because before then she was in a wheelchair for so long, since the Killing Joke in the 80s, right? So seeing that, a whole lot of people were like kind of unhappy, and also because of the fact that people felt like Stephanie Brown becoming Batgirl was a great step in the right direction for her character, because she was spoiler for so many years, and then she was Robin briefly, 3 months, and then she became Batgirl. It was cool, but that's how it is. As for Stephanie, I don't know what she's doing right now, but I have to say her prime days were like when she was spoiler in the 90s, early 2000s, until she died and then came back, and then she became Batgirl in 2009. That was when she really hit the rooftop for her character, when she became Batgirl. It was so crazy to the fact where when they made a Smallville version of Batgirl in the comics, she was originally going to be Stephanie Brown. Like, you can even tell with her personality, but the people behind DC at the time, they were like, nah, make her Barbara Gordon. And when you look at the comic book with Barbara Gordon, Smallville, you can just tell that that's Stephanie Brown with dyed red hair. I'm just like, come on, y'all. Anyways, besides those four, let's talk about Damian Wayne. Now, I feel like out of all the Robins, bro, Damian Wayne receives the most hate. And I believe it's because of Injustice and the DC animated movie universe. And I mean, it's understandable because, damn, Damian is an asshole in Injustice 2. And then the DC animated movie made him such a brat. Because, you know, there are many instances where people have hated Damian in the DC animated movie universe, right? But the big times where they really hated him was when he fought Dick Grayson in the second movie in the second movie, I believe, and won the fight, and when he was, you know, talking trash to Blue Beetle, who was literally like a walking death machine that could kill you instantly, right? He was doing all that, and so it's crazy, but Damian Wayne is a really good character. Like, of course, he first showed up as an infant, unnamed child in the late 80s, right? Then fast forward to 2005, like Batman number 665, 655 to 658, where he showed up for the first time. He's like, damn, my father's Batman, huh? And then he finds out that Batman has a ward, Tim Drake, right? Adopted son, and that just pissed off Damian Wayne, because he's like, damn, I'm his biological son, and you're out here playing Robin with my biological father. And so Damian was so pissed that he was throwing hands with Tim Drake. And one thing about Tim Drake is, unfortunately, he was the punching bag of Jason Todd and Damian Wayne. Like, it was sick, bro. Damian Wayne gave this man a punch so hard, gave him a Bellamy-ass punch to the face, that he was flying off the Batcave into that area where the T-Rex resides. It was so crazy, but Damian Wayne's character got way better, in my opinion, when he was teamed up with Dick Grayson as Robin, because around that time period, there was no Bruce Wayne. He was sent back in time from the Omega Beams, and so Dick Grayson, he filled the void as the new Batman, and Damian filled the void as the next Robin, because Tim Drake would later become Red Robin in that same time period. So it was so cool seeing a wisecracking Batman and a gritty, broody Robin. It was so good, bro. That was such a good time period, man. And of course, everything that Patrick Gleason did with Damian Wayne's character in the 2010s during the New 52, Super Sons, his connection with his father, the Bat family, and his connection with Superman's son, Jonathan Kent. Those were prime days of DC, in my opinion. DC Rebirth, they were going crazy, bro. Up until Heroes in Crisis, that just destroyed DC, in my opinion, but they were going so crazy at the time period. But like, now let's answer the question, who's the coldest Robin out of the five? I really believe it has to be either between Dick Grayson or Tim Drake, because Dick Grayson, his creation saved Batman comics. It really did, because there was a time period where Batman was about to be canceled because people were just like, this guy's too dark, he's too broody. And with the creation of Dick Grayson, it led to not just returning people coming back to read Batman, it also led to young viewers at the time going to read Batman too, because they were like, yo, a young hero like me who's working with Batman, that's so cool. And so Dick Grayson's popularity, like, it rose to astronomical levels, to the point where other sidekick characters started coming up. Like, you had Bucky Barnes a few years later, you had Wally West, Kid Flash, Donna Troy, Wonder Girl, Garth, Aqualad, all these different sidekicks, and even to a point where, you know, it kind of led to Spider-Man's creation too, though Spider-Man was in a different twist, where Spider-Man was the first teenage superhero to be his own hero, but not being a sidekick to nobody else. But Dick Grayson, you can thank that man for a lot of stuff, man. And you know, Dick Grayson, like I told y'all, bruh, he's always gonna be glazed on this channel, because the man has been disrespected by DC for almost a whole decade. The previous decade, the 2010s, he was disrespected in the DC animated movie department, in the comics department. He was disrespected, but now he's thriving again alongside his homeboy Wally West, and it's great. And also Tim Drake, man, his prime days as Robin, they were historical, man. He brought light into Batman in a way, because at that time period when Tim Drake was trying to be the next Robin, Batman was still feeling some type of way because he lost his previous Robin, Jason Todd. And it's understandable. If you lost somebody so close to you, you wouldn't want someone to fill that same void and possibly lose their life too, like the previous person did. And so Tim Drake showed that he could be a great Robin too, and he was. Tim Drake, to many people, he's their Robin. So I really feel like Tim Drake, he's possibly like up there for Coldest Robin too. All the stuff that deals with his character now, I don't really know, because like, he just doesn't hit the same anymore like he did back then. Like, I mean, you can say that for a lot of characters nowadays, and not even just characters, but a whole lot of media now. It doesn't hit the same like it used to. But Tim Drake in his prime, for sure, Cold Robin. But Jason Todd and Stephanie, they're probably the ones that didn't have, like, they probably had the least amount of aura as Robin, because like Jason, he was hated so much that they wanted him dead. And then Stephanie Brown, only Robin for 3 months, but she was great as Spoiler and Batgirl. And then that just leaves us Damian Wayne. And Damian Wayne, him in the comics is great. Like, I don't know if you guys have read his latest run from 2021, where he was like written by Joshua Williamson, but it was so great. It felt like a shonen arc, like the tournament arc from Yu Yu Hakusho. If y'all have watched that arc, it felt like that. He even got a girlfriend at the end of it, Flatline. So it was just like, that was prime Damian Wayne in a way too, man. He was going off. He had a new Robin costume. It was so good. But you guys let me know, who do you believe is the coldest Robin that Batman ever had? And also, the other videos that will be coming on the channel will be the Hall of Fame Aura Part 2 video and Wally Timothy West, which will be coming out on the channel. But man, I would just want to say thank you guys so much for showing so much support on the channel, man. I really like when we do videos like this too, because I know you guys like commentary videos, but I'm feeling like we can do way more videos on the channel besides those ones. Like, we can do videos about characters that deserve respect, like Superman, for example, because this man, Superman, he gets so much disrespect nowadays, bro. Like, it's crazy, man. People really consider his ripoffs like Homelander, Omni-Man, and you know, Blue Mar would be better than the OG, right? Like, it's crazy. But definitely videos like that are gonna be coming out on the channel. But as always, y'all enjoyed the video, consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. I also got a TikTok now. That probably won't matter because that app is soon gonna be banned anyways, and also an Instagram. But as always, y'all, I hope y'all continue a nice week, and I'll catch up in the next video. Voro Army out.